Greetings, friends, and welcome to The Bright Side, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. I am your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. I use nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and sometimes deadly medical procedures. If you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your health and vitality and well-being and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin, you have come to the right place. As you listen to The Bright Side every day, you are more and more in control of your body, you are more and more knowledgeable, and you know you can overcome any health challenge. That is why we are here. Every day on The Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 3 decades plus of practicing pharmacy, I have seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes, hypertension, obesity, skin diseases like psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, acne, digestive ailments, autoimmune issues of all kinds, recoveries that by the standards of modern medicine can only be called a miracle, but what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure. Because the human biological system is a healing and regenerating system. It's designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-to-moment basis. And while that may seem like a miracle to some folks, this renewing system is really nothing more than just the way the body works. And good evening, friends. Welcome to The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben, and thank you for joining us. Our number 844-236-6010, 844-236-6010. If you have questions, comments, success stories you'd like to share, we love hearing from you on The Bright Side. We'll get your calls in our next segment and talk to Toni King, author of multiple books about Medicare. She is a Medicare consultant, and she writes about Medicare freedom. Her website is tonisays.com, Tonisays, tonisays.com. On her website, you can get connected with her podcast as well as a free prescription drug guide. We're going to talk about Medicare survival with a Medicare consultant, Toni King, at the bottom of the hour. And your calls next segment, 844-236-6010, 844-236-6010. If you want to purchase longevity products, head to my websites, brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. All the longevity products are up on all the websites, brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. You'll also find a Join the Team link that you can use if you want to start a home-based business and be part of the longevity family. We can help you build your business. I can personally help you build your business. If you're an entrepreneur, it's an ideal business opportunity. If you want to be part of the billion-dollar nutritional supplement field, likewise, it's a great opportunity. And if you just want to get your longevity products at the wholesale price, you can do that as well. Hit the Join the Team link at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. If you prefer to speak to a real live person, you can call 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470. for more information. All right, Toni King coming up at the bottom of the hour. We're going to talk about Medicare. If you're confused about Medicare, Toni's got some clear answers. She considers herself a Medicare expert, and she's written multiple books on Medicare. As I approach Medicare age, I don't know if I'm going to use Medicare really, but you never know. Good thing to have. It's a good thing to know about as well. Toni King, bottom of the hour. And your calls next segment, 844-236-6010, 844-236-6010. All right, so yesterday we talked a little bit about these studies that came out, two of them. Two studies with dramatic headlines, but not really such dramatic results if you dive into what the studies were. Yesterday we talked about a study that talked about intermittent fasting and increased risk of death if you intermittently fast. They did a survey for folks who claimed they only ate, and this is one of the problems, by the way, with these surveys. They're based on questionnaires, and they go by what people say, memories being what they are, and unfortunately honesty being what it is. You can't always get a straight answer from surveys and from questionnaires, and this is one of the reasons I have a big problem with these kinds of studies. Nonetheless, the study came out and said people who intermittently fasted or claimed they intermittently fasted, that is, they ate in an 8-hour window, were 91% more likely to die. And I thought that was very interesting, so I took a deep dive, and it turns out they didn't ask any of these people what they ate. You know, I mean, obviously, if you're eating pizza and Snickers bars and hot dogs and hamburgers, you're going to have an increased risk of death over somebody who's eating much more carefully. It's not really about the 8-hour window that they ate in. It's probably about what they ate. Likewise, what their lifestyle was like. Did they smoke? Did they take drugs? Did they exercise? Did they have a lot of stress in their lives? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Did they have a history of illness? None of these criteria were measured. They just asked people when they ate. And then they came out with a conclusion, and of course the media went crazy with the headlines. Intermittent fasting associated with increased risk of death, and I got all kinds of calls and all kinds of emails and all kinds of questions about intermittent fasting. And as I've said yesterday, and I've said it many times before, intermittent fasting or calorie restriction, or restricting the amount of time that you spend eating during the day, is one of the all-time great longevity and health improving strategies that you could ever employ. Calorie restriction in general is associated with a longer life. And when they talk about intermittent fasting, I really don't think of just eating in an 8-hour window as being intermittently fasting. I consider intermittent fasting to be taking 1 day a month off of food or 2 days a month off of food. Nonetheless, it is a good idea to eat in a small window of time. 8 hours is good, 4 hours is better. Taking 16 hours or 20 hours off of food is a good idea. It gives your digestive system a break. There is a part of your, there's an electrical complex that is wired to the muscles, the musculature, that pushes food or propels food down the intestinal tract, called the MMC, the migrating motor complex. The migrating motor complex propels food through the digestive tract and out your body. And the migrating motor complex is activated by fasting. When you don't eat, the migrating motor complex kicks in. When you eat, the migrating motor complex slows down. Chronic ingestion of food, so-called grazing, eating all day, is a great way to shut down that migrating motor complex. And if you're chronically constipated, that might be one of the reasons. If you're chronically constipated, intermittent fasting is a great way to activate the migrating motor complex and clear food out of your digestive tract and out of your bowels. I highly recommend a fast, or at least intermittent, or at least restricting your eating to a small period during the day if you're chronically constipated. And by the way, we've all heard the migrating motor complex because it sounds like a little rumbling in your tummy. That rumbling in your tummy is actually the migrating motor complex kicking in and eliminating food out of your digestive tract and out of your bowels and out of your body. Of course, when we hear that migrating motor complex, we consider that to be a cue to eat, which, of course, shuts down the migrating motor complex, leading to poor elimination. Elimination of food out of the bowels is extremely important if you're dealing with a chronic degenerative disease, because as food sticks around, as it stays in the intestine, it feeds bacteria. This leads to SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, proliferation of bacteria in the small intestine, leaky gut, and you're off to the disease races. If you're dealing with an estrogenic health challenge, whether it's problems with your menstrual cycle or problems with your menopause or endometriosis or fibromyalgia or fibroids or cysts or, God forbid, cancer, eliminating estrogen through the bowels is also a very important health strategy. And intermittent fasting or restricting your calories to your calorie ingestion to a small part of the day are all great strategies for improving bowel function and improving the elimination of estrogen. Then there was another study that came out, and this one really got me. Headlines like, how excess niacin may promote cardiovascular disease. There were headlines like this all over the internet in the second and third week of March when this study was released. This is a study that appeared in the journal Nature Medicine in February 19th. By March, all kinds of headlines were prominent on the internet and in the news about niacin promoting cardiovascular disease. And you would have thought, if you didn't dive deep into the research, you would have thought that, oh my gosh, people took niacin and they had an increased risks of cardiovascular disease. That is not at all what this study talked about. They didn't even check for niacin. Let me repeat that. They didn't even check for niacin. Yet all the headlines were talking about how excess niacin may promote cardiovascular disease. Never mind that niacin is one of the all-time great essential nutrients and nutritional supplements for all kinds of health challenges. We'll talk about that when we come back from our break. And get your phone calls. 844-236-6010 is our number. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll return right after this.
What if you could cut your heating bills this winter with your existing wood-burning fireplace and not spend thousands doing it? You can with Great Wall of Fire fireplace grates. Our U.S. patented made-in-America Wall of Fire grates increase fireplace efficiency, eliminate fireplace smoke problems, and come with a 30-day money-back guarantee. See our grates in action and get free shipping from walloffire.com or call 800-274-7364. Fireplace heat without fireplace smoke. walloffire.com. Wellness and self-care doesn't have to be complicated. So keep it simple and take good care of yourself with Sunny Bay heating pads. Our heating pads soothe pains in the neck, back, and shoulders while relaxing muscles and increasing blood circulation. Sunny Bay heating pads have always been made in the USA and hand-filled to perfection with the highest quality materials. Sunny Bay heating pads are the perfect wellness gift for loved ones or yourself. See all of our high-quality products at sunny-bay.com, including heated body pads, neck pillows, heated neck and body wraps, and our stress-reducing lavender line. They're all affordable, durable, and in stock now and ready for immediate shipping direct from sunny-bay.com. Read our trusted, authentic, and real reviews at sunny-bay.com or just search for Sunny Bay Heating Pad. To your good health and wellness from Sunny Bay.
Hi, I'm Dan Pilla. I started fighting the IRS over 40 years ago when they tried to seize my mother's house. I sued the IRS and won. I beat the IRS then, and I've been beating them ever since. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I've helped thousands of people deal with tax problems they thought might never be solved. I can help you too. If you owe taxes you can't pay, don't wait another day. There's no such thing as a hopeless tax case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com, danpilla.com.
Complement your health with hemp-derived cannabinoid oil. We've always believed that the closer to Earth, the better it is for our bodies. Our hemp-derived cannabinoid oil is phytocannabinoid-rich, full-spectrum, and organically grown. Finally, hemp made easy, clean, and effective. GCNhemp.com or call 877-878-4203. That's right, we cut through the red tape. It's now available at GCNhemp.com or call 877-878-4203.
Hi, this is Sophie Winnick, longtime distributor and user of Longevity products. In the last few years, my family went through a crisis. Everything else in my life, including my business, had to be put on the back burner. Thankfully, life is getting back to normal now. But the one thing I never had to worry about was my business and my monthly commission. I've been a distributor for Longevity for over 17 years, since before it was Longevity. And I've got to say, the most amazing thing about this company is the people. While my family was in crisis, other distributors stepped in and helped my customers, simply because that's what Longevity people do, even for people they don't know. For me, it has never been about getting rich. It was about a product I could stand behind, a company I could count on, and a monthly commission check that has never, not once, been late in 17 years. Longevity is truly a business for everyone, even people who have too much to do. I'm Sophie Winnick. I'm just like you. I have a real life, real ups and downs, but I know I will always have Longevity.
Medicaid and CHIP offer free or low-cost health coverage for children and teens. Hospital and doctor visits, prescriptions, shots, and more are covered. That's peace of mind for parents if a child is sick or gets injured. And parents may now be eligible for Medicaid too, even if they've applied in the past. Enrollment is always open. Visit InsureKidsNow.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Be sure to visit GCNlive.com today.
Okay, we are back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. We're going to talk to Tony King at the bottom of the hour, get some clarity about Medicare from Medicare expert Tony King. Website tonysays.com, TONISAYS.com. Your calls this segment, if we have calls, 844-236-6010. So, you couldn't have missed these headlines about niacin and cardiovascular disease. How excess niacin may promote cardiovascular disease. That's from the National Institute of Health, NIH.gov. based on an article that appeared in the journal Nature Medicine in February 19th of this year. The team analyzed, this is from the study, the team analyzed blood plasma from more than 1,100 people for molecules, here's the key, for molecules associated with adverse cardiac events such as heart attacks and strokes. They identified 2 such molecules. One is called 2-PY and the other is called 4-PY. Both of these are produced when the body breaks down excess niacin. So it seems like you take niacin, you make 2-PY and 4-PY, and it's associated with cardiovascular disease. The problem is that 2-PY and 4-PY are not only breakdown products in niacin, they are also associated with kidney disease. People who deal with kidney disease also have elevated levels of 2-PY and 4-PY, and we know that kidney disease is associated with cardiovascular health problems. We do know that kidney disease is associated with dysglycemia or messed up blood sugar, which is associated with cardiovascular disease. So you see, they didn't even look for niacin. They didn't even check for this incredibly valuable and important essential nutrient. They checked for these 2 molecules, 2-PY and 4-PY. So instead of talking about niacin, they should have said, high 2-PY and 4-PY may promote cardiovascular disease, and that may be the case. This is a classic misunderstanding by the media and unfortunately by healthcare professionals who should know better from organizations like the National Institute of Health. Niacin is incredibly important, and nobody, if you read if you go into these websites and you go into these articles and go into these columns that talk about this ridiculous headline, how excess niacin may promote cardiovascular disease, they never say that excess niacin causes cardiovascular disease. They use words like suggests or implies or leads one to believe. Nobody ever showed that excess niacin or taking niacin is associated with cardiovascular disease. In fact, the opposite is true. Niacin is an incredibly valuable essential nutrient for the heart by virtue of its ability to promote circulation. Now, you can tell that it's going to promote circulation because there are forms of niacin that will make you turn red as a beet and warm as a radiator. That's called the niacin flush. And the niacin flush can be a little bit uncomfortable. But this effect of niacin is harmless. It goes away. It goes away in about 15 or 20 minutes, and if you've been using niacin supplementation for a couple weeks or so, you don't even get the niacin flush anymore. And if you use your ultimate EFAs with your niacin, you won't even get the niacin flush at all. But that niacin flush is your indicator that you're getting circulation benefits. You're getting vasodilation benefits, and this vasodilation accounts for niacin's important cardiovascular health benefits. Niacin is also important for lowering blood cholesterol. In fact, many studies show that niacin can be as potent or close to as potent as a statin drug, and instead of the side effects of a statin drug, you're going to get the wonderful benefits of niacin for your brain, for your digestive system, and for your skin. I've been using niacin in my skincare products pretty much since I started formulating skincare products. Now, if you don't want the niacin flush, which usually lasts about, 10 or 15 minutes after you take your niacin, depending on the form you use, maybe lasts half an hour to an hour. If you don't want the niacin flush, which isn't the end of the world, but some people feel like it's a little bit uncomfortable and they don't want the niacin flush, you can take other forms of niacin, which are said to be no-flush niacin. Now, no-flush niacin is not going to give you the same cardiovascular health benefits or the cholesterol-lowering benefits, but you will get other health benefits from no-flush niacin. If you want the heart benefits, heart health benefits, and the cholesterol benefits, you want to take the flushing kind. It's called niacin. Niacinamide is the no-flush niacin. So you have two forms. There's more forms, but the two main forms are niacin and niacinamide. The niacinamide form is said to be no-flush niacin. Now, it gets a little confusing, it's pretty confusing, we'll put it that way. Niacinamide is also called nicotinamide. Usually they call it niacinamide, but sometimes you'll hear the term nicotinamide. So niacin / nicotinamide are no-flush niacin. They don't have the same cardiovascular health benefits, but you will get skin health benefits from them, from both of those, or from nicotinamide / niacinamide. And you'll also get benefits for your digestive tract. And there's some pretty darn significant benefits for the digestive tract. We'll talk about that here in a second. Hopefully today. Maybe you have to go till next Saturday. We'll talk about niacin and the digestive tract. You also get brain health benefits with both forms of niacin. That is plain niacin or niacinamide. There is a third form of niacin, which is a little pricey. It's also a no-flush form of niacin. It's called inositol hexanicotinoate. Inositol hexanicotinoate. And that is a no-flush form of niacin like nicotinamide or niacinamide. It is very pricey. And I don't suggest you use that form. It's a good form for if you want some inositol, I guess. Inositol's got some nice relaxing health benefits associated with it. Now, if you want to get your niacin, your vitamin B3 from foods, you're pretty much going to look at high-protein foods, legumes, fish, poultry, beef, dairy, organ meats especially. Whole grains have niacin in them as well. Peanuts. In fact, peanut butter was developed to get niacin to poor people in the post-Civil War South. Interestingly, post-Civil War South, you probably heard this story. I think I might have told you this story. Post-Civil War South, they didn't eat a lot of protein. They ate a lot of corn because they were growing corn, and they weren't getting a lot of protein, and they were suffering from protein deficiency issues. And one of the protein deficiency issues that they were suffering from was niacin deficiency. That's because niacin is found in high-protein foods. So a lot of folks were niacin deficient in the South and after the Civil War, and they would be out in the sun, and they would get skin sensitivities. Niacin is extremely important for the immune system in the skin and for the skin barrier. Niacin is just amazingly valuable for skin health. You know, you can use topical niacin to treat acne. It's almost as beneficial. In fact, it may be as beneficial as topical antibiotics. Niacin has skin barrier strengthening properties when it's applied topically. Niacin is a depigmentizing or a anti-hyperpigmentation agent, maybe because it helps strengthen the barrier. It's just an amazingly valuable topical ingredient for skin products. Anyway, down south after the Civil War, they were working in the sun and they weren't getting a lot of niacin. They were not getting a lot of high-protein foods, so they would end up with dermatitis and rashes, and that is one of the signs of niacin deficiency diseases, dermatitis and rashes. And they would end up with sun sensitivity and red necks. So that's why we call people who live down south to this day rednecks. A little bit of niacin is all they needed. And if you're dealing with any kind of skin issue that you're not sure where it's coming from, you may need a little niacin too. 100 milligrams a day is a good place to be. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll continue this discussion on our next Bright Side episode. Tony King coming up next on the... We are back on the Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We're on the air weekend evenings, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, Saturdays and Sundays, and 24/7 on the archive page, brightsideben.com. You'll find all the longevity products up at brightsideben.com, as well as a Join the Team link you can use if you want to start a home-based business and be part of the longevity family. You can also go to my blog, pharmacistben.com, or our news stories and videos and blog post page at criticalhealthnews.com. The longevity products are up on all the websites, as well as a Join the Team link that you can use to start a home-based business and be part of the billion-dollar nutritional supplement field. You can also call 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470 for more information. And don't forget to take a look at our Truth Skin Health products, all formulated by myself in my compounding pharmacy for helping folks deal with various skin health issues, prevention of post-surgical or post-traumatic scarring, for dealing with full-blown skin diseases like psoriasis or acne, for just plain old dry skin or aging skin as well. All our True Skin Health products are made without preservatives, fragrances, fillers, waxes, emulsifiers, water, silicone, vegetable oil, nothing your skin doesn't need or doesn't want. Just 100% active and functional ingredients featuring lots of fat-soluble vitamin C, retinol, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K, squalane, fullerenes. Just the good stuff, folks, and lots of it. And, of course, plant-derived minerals. All our True Skin Health products can be found at Truth Treatments with an S. TruthTreatments.com. TruthTreatments.com. All right, I am looking forward to speaking to our guest this evening. Tony King is a Medicare expert. When it comes to Medicare, what you don't know will hurt you, is what Tony says. Tony does Medicare workshops. She's also the author of multiple books about Medicare. She's appeared in over 100 newspapers nationwide, and I think it's a very important subject personally as I approach age 65, and I'm excited to see what Tony King has to say. Please welcome to the bright side, Tony King. Greetings, Tony.
Okay, I'm
Hi
here.
there.
I'm in Texas. You're talking
yes?
to me from Texas.
No, you're in Texas. I'm in Colorado. You're in Texas. All right, Tony.
Okay.
So you have multiple books you've written about Medicare. Before we get into that, what exactly does a Medicare consultant do?
What does a Medicare consultant do? Well, I'm different than most Medicare consultants because I help people personalize their Medicare, make their Medicare for themselves. Some Medicare consultants are insurance agents that are just marketing certain products. Okay? I am an insurance agent. I do understand the Medicare supplements, the Medicare Advantage plans, but I help people to navigate the Social Security system, who does all the enrolling for Medicare. How I got started was a gentleman called Social Security and got the wrong information, and I knew the answer, and it cost him over $10,000 literally. So I took what's called the Medicare and You Handbook, and when you turn 65, and when you get on Medicare, Part A and Part B, you'll get the Medicare and You Handbook. I took that book and put it in people terms because it's too hard to navigate.
Yeah, I don't really understand. I don't even understand Part A, Part B, and there's C and D, aren't there? There's 4 parts, correct?
Well, there's only technically there's 2 parts to original Medicare. That's Part A and Part B. That's what's on your Medicare card. Part C is Medicare Advantage plans. That's all the advertising you see about the different Joe Namath and all the different guys that are advertising for a certain company. Those are Medicare Advantage plans. That's an HMO, a PPO. And then Part D is Medicare's prescription drug plan. And you're a pharmacist, correct? I mean, you
Correct.
deal with... So it would blow your mind if once you learn about Medicare and you learn about Medicare's Part D donut hole or the cost of prescriptions, it's gonna completely blow your mind. I had a person last week who came in who's retiring from a large company, and she takes Skyrizi that they for psoriasis and whatever.
Skyrizi?
That prescription, excuse me?
Is it called Skyrizi?
Skyrizi?
Yeah,
that prescription was over $22,000 on Medicare.
Oh, my God. Is that a month?
A month.
That's not crazy.
And Medicare doesn't cover Skyrizi.
Oh, wow.
Their Part B plan. And that's the first time I'd had somebody come in the office with it. So, when a person gets in the donut hole, they know it. They have to pay more. And we do not have the mafia anymore. We have Big Pharma.
Big Pharma is like the modern mafia? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I don't disagree.
Own Washington. Do what?
I don't disagree with you. You know how much that $22,000 drug costs to make, probably? Pennies.
$5.
Yeah, something like that, right? And it's selling for $22,000. Isn't that crazy? And it is like the mafia, and it's horrible. But we're led to believe that we need pharmacology, that we need drugs, that we can't be healthy without them, so people feel like it's a life or death situation. That woman with psoriasis doesn't know that it's a food problem or a digestive problem, or she can take nutritional supplements.
She's going to retire and move from Texas to North Carolina, and she found out all about her prescription drugs. She had enough drugs to choke a horse. And she's a diabetic. I mean, you just don't know. So I make sure that people understand how Medicare works, that they know what's going on, they understand the prescription drug plan, And you're turning 65. I mean, I don't know when your birthday is.
I just turned 64, so I got a year. I'll be 65 in a year.
Okay.
So what should I be doing?
Not answering your telephone, because you all of a sudden start, about 6 months prior to you turning 65, you start getting more phone calls and mail than you would ever know. And they will scare the snot out of you.
Is that right?
Seriously. Now, are you? If I used you as a someone that I'm doing a consultation for, are you on an individual health insurance, or do you have company insurance?
Well, it's my company, but I own the company, so it's my company, and I have individual health insurance for myself, and then for some of my employees have it as well. So I have basic insurance just being provided. It's actually a good insurance program. So how would I integrate Medicare? What would I do?
Well, I'd have to know a little more, but whenever someone is getting on Medicare, when they're turning 65 and they're not working full-time with true company insurance, then they need to open up a socialsecurity.gov account. You may already have one.
I think I have one, yeah.
And that's where you go to sign up for Medicare. All right? And it's very confusing for people, but you start getting phone calls from the Philippines and Jamaica and wherever.
So can you help, as a Medicare consultant, do you help people navigate through all that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I want to talk about that when we come back from a break. We've got to take a commercial break, Tony. I also want to talk about some of your books. Tony King is with us. She's got a website, Tony Says, TONISAYS, TonySays.com. Her podcast is Medicare Moments. More with Tony King on the bright side right after this break. We're back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We're talking to Tony King about Medicare. Tony is a Medicare expert, and she helps folks navigate through the craziness that is the Medicare maze and avoid penalties. Her website, TonySays.com, TONISAYS, TonySays.com. Her podcast, Medicare Moments, and she's got multiple books. So, Tony, you have an interesting take on Medicare from a biblical perspective. You mind? Let's talk a little bit about that. You
want to know the truth on what happened?
Yeah. What do you mean by?
I called one of the big TV, the Christian TV stations, because I was looking for a publisher to help me with my Medicare Survival Guide. They said they couldn't publish my book because I was secular and not biblical. I said, Seriously? I start all my workshops with the Lord's Prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. That's how I start. So I Googled how many books have anything biblical or positive quotes in it, and there were 0. So I took my Medicare Survival Guide and put it. I had a pastor help me, and we put scripture and positive quotes to Medicare, because people are so stressed on what's going on, and that's how the maze of Medicare got started.
Now, the Medicare Survival Guide has biblical quotes in it, or it's written from a biblical perspective?
No, it's completely about what is Medicare Part A, B, C, and D. It goes through every aspect, but every year I update the book to have what the current numbers are. The maze of Medicare it discusses the different aspects of Medicare, but it has positive quotes and scripture in it, because people are so stressed, okay, and they don't understand how Medicare operates. So this is just information on how Medicare operates. And it does have, like in Chapter 13, enrolling in Medicare is not impossible. And under Matthew 19, verse 26, it says that Jesus said to them, with men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. And then the positive quote is from Audrey Hepburn, who said, nothing is impossible, even the word says, I'm possible.
Huh, that's great.
So I information on Medicare, and I put scripture and biblical quotes and whatever to it because people are so stressed. I've never seen so many people coming into my office or talking to people nationwide who read my articles in the newspaper. They're on so many depression meds and stress, anxiety. I mean, everything. And so that's what I did. I took my Medicare Survival Guide and I put scripture and positive quotes to it because people need help. America needs help.
Yeah, that's clear. Now, what have you You've been doing this 20 years. What have you noticed about the health of older folks over the last 20 years?
What have I noticed?
Yeah, what have you noticed? Any changes since 2004?
God, has that been 20 years? I guess it has been.
Yeah.
Oh, I've noticed a lot of changes as far as the Advantage plans are concerned, that the cost, you have more out of pocket. I've noticed more changes with prescription drugs. I mean,
how about with people? How about with the people, with your patients or with the patients?
People,
yeah.
I get more boomers. Your people that are retiring at 70 and 80 are not like the 70 and 80-year-olds were 20 years ago. They're a little more computer savvy. They're leaving work. They're leaving Shell or Chevron or BP or whoever. I'm just seeing that people are more computer savvy. Some are, some aren't. It just depends.
Are they more health savvy?
I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing people that are working for large companies. They kind of lean on their insurance more. It just depends. I can usually spot when someone walks in. I pretty much know what prescriptions they're going to take. I'm seeing that people are a little, some people are more overweight. It just depends on the person, It depends on the area. I mean, I'm in Texas, so it just depends on the area that you're at.
What are some of the myths that people have about Medicare?
What are some of the myths?
Yeah.
Some of the myths have that Part A is free. Medicare is free. Well, it's not free. You paid your tax dollars is what paid for that. Some of the myths are that, prescription drugs, you're not going to have to pay for everything. I mean, there's just different myths that people believe that when you're turning 65, you have to sign up for Medicare. Well,
not
if you're
true.
Still working with a company, well, that's not exactly. If you're still working for a company and you have employer benefits, you don't want to sign up for Medicare. If you have an HSA, you're funding an HSA. The second you sign up for Part A of Medicare, if you're still working full-time with True Company Insurance, you can't fund your HSA anymore. So there's different rules that you miss in the Medicare New Handbook. Medicare is based off of income. It's not just because you turn 65, you automatically get on Medicare. If you're a high-income earner, you're going to pay more.
So Medicare is there to benefit people. It's there to serve people who are not making a lot of money and who are retired or not working. Is that correct?
I'm on Medicare, and I have a Medicare supplement, and I'm a high-income earner, so my Part B is higher than the $174.70 because I'm still working. But my out-of-pocket is $240. And I only pay less than $100 for my Medicare supplement. So, you've got to judge certain things to see what best fits your needs.
So just because you reach age 65 doesn't necessarily mean that you're all of a sudden going to be enrolled in a Medicare plan.
Well, are you getting your Social Security check?
No, I don't get much of a social. Okay. I'm not going to get much of a social. I've been self-employed pretty much my whole life.
Yeah, I know the feeling. Well, if you're not receiving your Social Security check, then you will not be enrolled in Medicare. And people don't understand that because some people are waiting until 67, some people are waiting until 70 to get their Social Security check. If you do not sign up for Medicare and you're not working full-time with True Company Insurance, then you can get a penalty and that penalty will last the rest of your Medicare life, of your life.
Do you think it behooves people to have of a certain age to get a Medicare consultant or Medicare expert like yourself to help them guide them through this kind of craziness and morass and confusion? And then
definitely.
And there are a lot of folks like you. You just look them up on the internet, like Medicare consultant.
No, there's not very many like me. They can find me on the internet, and it's ToniSays.com. I'm Toni with an I and not a Y because I'm a girl.
ToniSays.com. I like that. And then you work with folks from all around the country?
Medicare's federal, so it doesn't matter. If you're in Texas or you're in Alaska or you're in wherever you're, Colorado, the Medicare rules are the same, okay? The Medicare supplement and the Medicare Advantage plans can be different. But, you know, I love selling insurance. I mean, that's how I got started. I'm an insurance agent. I love selling insurance, but you got to do what's right for the person.
Yeah, right.
You have to put that person first.
How do you get paid for your Medicare consulting?
When I do a Medicare consultant, I'd either do it as an individual or as a couple. If it's an individual, I charge $150 for the Medicare consultant. If you called me and I was going to help you when you turn 65 in a year, individual is $150. As a couple, it's $250 for the husband and wife.
That's great, Toni.
I have saved people thousands of dollars.
Well, I'm going to keep your number here, Toni. The website is ToniSays.com, ToniSays. You can email Toni at Toni@ToniSays.com. And her podcast is Medicare Moments. Thank you so much, Toni, for being on the bright side. That was very enlightening. Happy Easter.
Well, same to you.
Okay, bye now. That was Toni King, and her website, ToniSays.com, ToniSays, ToniSays.com. That's all the time we have for this evening on The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben. We'll be back at you next Saturday, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Till then, have an awesome, wonderful, beautiful, spectacular week. Talk to you later, folks. Bye for now.